Hi guys, I am Biliana from the Massage Lab, and today I'm going to take you through my all-time favorite neck mobility routine. It is a very simple exercise. It is designed to be done anywhere at all. You don't require any equipment and hardly any time to perform this. I would recommend picking and mixing several videos from this series and starting and ending with this routine, because to me it's like a line in the sand of where my neck is before and after I've performed my mobility exercises. So do these with me, it will only take a few minutes. So make yourselves comfortable, whether that's at your chair or anywhere really. The important thing to remember is that we want to move from a good starting position, so no slumping. If you have a tendency for rounding the shoulders, just make sure you're sitting nice and tall, but not working so hard, but just a nice erect posture. We're going to start with performing the various movements that the neck can naturally do, and we'll just have a feel as to where and how we can go today without trying to increase or change anything. So we're going to start with rotation. Yes, we're going to start to the left, so we're going to turn our neck to the left, and we're going to do each direction 5 times. Get to the natural end of your range and come back to the middle. Use your eyes and gaze behind you as you turn. That will really help send signals to the brain to help that rotation of the neck. Good. So now we're going to go right. Make sure you're keeping your chin parallel to the floor and that you're creating as pure a neck rotation as you possibly can. And don't forget, use the eyes, they'll take you further. Great, one more. Okay, now we're going to go for side bending or ear to shoulder. I'm going to start with my left ear to my left shoulder. And this is usually where I find this a little bit tricky. I feel a nice pull on the right side between my shoulder and the neck. And I'm not just collapsing, I'm just going to show how not to do it. I'm literally kind of drawing an arc with my nose or chin or forehead, whichever way you want to think about it, and making the movement happen. And I stop where I feel the natural end feel. And let's go the other side. What I'm not doing, which you can probably notice, I'm not kind of tilting the head forward or tilting the head back. I'm trying to keep my head between 2 imaginary panes of glass and going for a pure side bending. Okay, and importantly, I'm not letting my shoulder follow my ear. My shoulders stay down where they are, and it's just my head moving. Okay, great. So we did rotation, we did side bending. Now we're going to do a movement that we habitually do a lot of, and we're going to try and reverse that tendency. We are in this position a lot more than we think. So what I'm going to go with, get us to do with this next movement is learn that apart from this position, we actually have this one, which is much nicer for us generally and prevents, this position really promotes tightening and fatiguing of the neck muscles at the back of your neck and down around the shoulder blades, because the head weighs about 5 kilos. So it makes sense to keep the head balanced between the shoulders where the muscular effort to hold it is minimal. So it's called an anterior and posterior glide or chicken head. Okay, so I'm sliding my chin forward as if I wanted to kind of kiss somebody in front of me. And then I'm sliding my chin backwards, giving myself that proverbial double chin. Now obviously going forward is super easy, a little bit too easy, so this is not the movement that we're interested in. We're interested in cueing our muscles to take the head back. Okay, so I'm performing all movements around 5 times, but I'm going to do this 10 times. It's up to you, gauge it and do as much or as little as feels right for you. Okay, so we've done rotation, side bending, anterior and posterior glide. Now we're going to go for the side to side or the Egyptian, whichever way you want to call it. It's tricky. I like to put my fingers on my cheekbones, and that helps me kind of cue which way I'm trying to move. So you can start with just fingers on cheekbones, but what I think is even handier or more kind of helpful is to take your fingers like an inch away from your cheekbones or even less, and try to reach your cheekbones to touch the fingers. Before you know it, you're performing the perfect Egyptian And it does take a little bit of effort and kind of figuring it out in the brain. So this doesn't need to be perfect at all, it just needs to be movement. Any movement is better than no movement. Okay, so that was our rotation, our side bending, our anterior and posterior glide, and our lateral glides. I love ending with a little bit of a kind of freestyle rotation movement, so I'm going to show you how I do it. There's no right or wrong here, the only wrong thing is to not do it. So I'm going to tilt, kind of tuck my chin in towards the throat, bow my forehead down, and then I'm going to trace my chin down from the middle to the shoulder, and then down the middle and tracing it to the other side. I'm not making an effort, I'm just going as far as my neck is willing to take me. Okay, and if you feel like making the circle a little bit bigger, you can do so. Just be a little bit gentle, see how your neck feels when you go backwards, change direction. That extension of the neck, just be mindful that it feels comfortable. Okay, and finally, to conclude this series, we're going to do what I call the figure of eight or the bow tie movement. So it's a mixture of all the movements. I like to visualize a bow tie in front of me with its four corners, and I'm going to take my gaze and my head to all four corners of that imaginary bow tie. And at first it looks a little bit square and a little bit angular, so I'm going to now start joining those dots and making it a little bit more of a, infinity sign, figure of eight on its side, and then I'm just going to enjoy the movement. And I'm hearing lots of peppercorns kind of popping around the back of my neck in that junction between the skull and my neck. And I know that I get that when I spend too many hours at my computer and too few hours moving. So don't be afraid of the noises that our bodies can make. As long as you're not doing anything painful, it's absolutely fine. Don't push and breathe. And I'll see you for the next one. Bye now.